Greetings YouTube, I am outside behind my house. You'll notice that there's cement here that is in very poor shape. So we're going to remove this cement that's in poor shape, and then we're going to clean this area today, and then tomorrow we're going to put some new cement in. We got some waterproof cement which will help seal up this area and hopefully slow down some leaks we've had in the basement. Nothing serious but annoying. And we're going to use a wire wheel and a drill to clean up the area. My wife is currently getting a extension cord plugged into the house. And I'm going to be using my pry bar, which I picked up recently at a sale, and my 48-ounce engineering hammer to do that with. So, next up, a whole lot of whacking, I guess. Yes, in case anybody's wondering, I'm wearing safety glasses. So, about a half hour later, and the vast majority of the cement is gone. I got one piece in here. I just can't get out, so I'm leaving it. There's some crumbs in there. I'm not going to worry about those. We're just going to go right back over those. Fill this crack in. Now, actually, I should see if I can get that piece right there out. Maybe I can get that out too. I'll check. Get my wacky thing and see if I can get rid of that one. But looking okay, and there's a pile of debris. And that's the pile of moss that was growing out here, because we're in the back of the building, would never, ever get sunlight. So, which is kind of nice. See, this is where we, it's always cool on this side of the house, but still, it's kind of nasty. But I'm gonna see if I can get that spot out. And yes, she is wearing safety glasses as well. Alright, Lara has wire brushed the wall to her satisfaction, or as best we can with our current technology. And we are now, or she is now, spraying down the wall with a bleach solution. This is a 9 parts water, 1 part bleach, which is strong enough to kill everything in the universe, including Ebola. So that will hopefully help us knock back this mold and other moss and lichens and such, and give us time to have this dry before we go and try putting in the cement tomorrow. So right now it's just a matter of using this sprayer, which we have for killing weeds. Lara mixes up her own weed killer. What's the mix you used, dear?
A gallon of vinegar, a cup of Epsom salt, and like a half a cup of dish detergent. Dawn works great.
And then you spray that on your weeds, and the weeds die. So you can make your own, and it's a little less toxic than a lot of the stuff that you can buy at the at a home store, and it's relatively cheap. I mean, a gallon of vinegar costs less than $2. The other ingredients are equally economic. So tomorrow we're going to give her a shot at putting some cement down. Woo! Well, folks, this is what it looks like after. This is not perfect, we freely admit this, but since we used cement and not concrete, in the sense that we didn't mix in an aggregate, which means this mix is basically just the powdered concrete and water, we're hoping that it is going to seal this area better. And yeah, this looks a little rough, but when it's dry, we're going to come back and brush it with a wire brush, a hand wire brush, clean it up a little. And then we have plans to coat this entire area with some roofing sealant. We have some white roofing sealant we bought from a neighbor of ours who does handy stuff, and he had like a 20 a 5-gallon bucket he didn't need, so we bought it off of him for 20 bucks. And we're gonna brush it on here to help hopefully seal it up some more. So when we're done, this will be completely covered. And we also had room, little powder left over for this spot, which was had a fairly deep hole in it prior to our filling it in. So that at the moment, that should be better than it was, because that was definitely catching water, and we're, you know, just gonna go into our basement eventually, you know, because, you know, that's my basement right there. There's a basement window right there. So we're hopefully gonna eventually get this whole area sealed up. It's gonna take a while, but that hole was egregious, so now it's gone. And we had on one almost near fatality. My t-shirt I hit perfectly clean during the entire process of doing this project until I took my gloves off, when they snapped and covered me in cement. So sprayed it off, which is why I'm currently outside topless. Something I can't say I've been in a very long time. I don't really do sunlight. It's not my thing. I'm about to go inside and put a shirt on. Jump into the future! It is several weeks after we finished our cementing process. And we've just finished brushing this with a wire brush and then brushing it with conventional broom. And now we are getting ready to use this long-handled brush and that no-handled or short-handled brush to apply this tub of roofing sealant on this section of wall to help complete this process. Now we've already seen a marked reduction in the amount of moisture in this area of our basement. So that is just awesome. I am so thrilled about that. So this definitely seems to have been what was causing our problem. The people had used concrete last time, and they should have been using just cement, and they should have been using the waterproof stuff like we are, and that really seems to have made the world of difference. So now it's going to be time to slathering this stuff on the wall. And here we go. This is what the final product looks like, all gleamy white at the moment. And here is Lara putting in the last stippling, filling in the little gaps and all the little nooks and crannies that this big long handled brush doesn't get because it's got shorter bristles. So I laid on this heavy stuff with that, and then she's coming in behind me to fill in those little cracks and crevices and stuff to get as much of a coverage as we can achieve. So I'm hoping the combination of our cement job and this sealant will
really help this corner of the house.
Right. And actually the bucket actually cost 40 bucks. I think I said 20 at one point. I apologize. But the investment of, I think, $15 worth of brushes and a handle, and then we can reuse the handle, and $40 for this, plus the cement, which I think I ran us, what, 13, 15 bucks for that bucket of cement?
Yeah.
So, and, you know, probably $20 in incidentals, which is a lot less than, you know, having to put French tile in for around the entire building, or having an in-basement system, mitigation system put in, which is still going to run you in the $6,000 to $8,000 grand total. Having French tiles put in around your building is going to run you like 40. It's not cheap, but it is a way to keep water away from your basement, your foundation.
It's a temporary solution.
Yes, this is a temporary stopgap, but as a temporary stopgap, we're in for, you know, well less than $100, and so I think it's well worth it. And this should also help keep the moss issue down.
Well, hopefully.
Yeah, well, hopefully. At least it'll make it a lot more visible. We'll be able to find it a lot more easily.
The neighbors will be like, why are we blinded?
Right. But this side of the building really doesn't get much sun. I was out here not long ago at dusk. I was checking out to make sure that the cement had cured, and the sunlight ends right where that pipe is. The sun just does not go any further. And then if you look up, that roof that sticks out further than the section above it. So you have this combination of, we don't get as much water protection in this section, and then we get zero sunlight in this section. So it's the perfect environment for moss to grow in. It just really is. It's like this perfect storm of poor conditions for foundation health.
Right. And it was beautiful moss, just...
Yeah, it was very attractive moss. The very attractive moss is now in the garbage.
What am I going to do with it?
By the way, anyone is asking, the pipe is actually the sump pump. The sump pump is actually right in that corner in my basement. And the pump comes up, and there's a pipe that goes in up here, and then it goes out there, and where the pipe goes into the ground, right in front of Lara's knee, is a dry well. So all the water from our basement that goes into that sump pump ends up out here. The only major problem we have with the situation is that the dampest part of our entire basement is at the diametrically opposed point of my basement. It's at the other end, which is unfortunately right under my power box. Yay! But we also use that sump pump to drain our humidifier. We have a humidifier, a dehumidifier rather, in the basement, and we have it hooked up to a hose, and that drains right into the sump pump.
And that's there to keep the fire alarms from going off.
And that's there to keep the fire alarms from going off. Because, oddly enough, because unfortunately in the last couple of years we've discovered that the fire alarms were going off again and again and again. And we looked into it, and apparently humidity can set them off. So we have done what we can to reduce humidity in the basement by having a dehumidifier, and it's worked really well.
So far.
Right, it's about 50% humidity down there, which is way drier than it was when it started.
I won't claim success until we have no alarms until October.
Yeah, that's our goal, because we were getting them in like August and September every year. So now we're trying to get it to the point where we don't get any at all.
1 o'clock in the morning.
Right, when you're sleeping, whether I'm daytime sleeping or Lara's nighttime sleeping, and we were getting alarms going off. And there's no fire, but you don't know that, of course. And everything goes off in the entire building because they're all wired together. So yeah, because this is an apartment building, so all of them have to be hardwired, and all of them have to be both carbon monoxide and smoke detectors. So joy. Well, folks, this has been our wall maintenance. We're hoping that it's going to help us keep things in the basement drier, and hopefully mitigate the moss problem back here in the corner. And I hope you've all found it interesting. Want to say goodbye, dear?
Fascinating.